Hello, y'all. I'm Lexie.
And I'm Katie.
And this is the very first Go Read Sis podcast.
Woohoo!
Yay. So to start, we're just going to talk a little bit about ourselves, just a tiny bit, just so y'all can get to know us a little. Yeah. And that's going to start with our relative age. We are in our 20s.
Indeed, we are. I feel like most people can probably tell by looking at us that we're in our 20s.
I think so.
But if you're not watching visually, you can also probably tell by our annoying voices that we're
and you'll learn by our book preferences. You can probably pinpoint our ages.
Yeah, I mean, you could get pretty close.
Yeah, that's okay, though. Moving on. How did we meet?
Are you asking me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can answer this one.
Amazing.
You're a better storyteller.
Am I?
I don't
know. Okay, so to talk about how we met, we have to go back.
Just a little.
Go back in time. So, to give you the very short story, our husbands are twin brothers. So, I started dating my husband. Yeah, so we're twins, basically. Yeah. I've known my husband and his brother since we were in elementary school. And my husband and I started dating when we were in high school. And then his brother started dating Lexie late in high school. So we all kind of met. I mean, we all met Lexie. I'm
a late bloomer into the fam.
Yeah, that's okay. Our junior year of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they got married.
We got married.
A couple years later, we got married.
Yeah, and then we really became friends when we all ended up living in the same place again. Mm-hmm. So my husband and I moved out of state, and then
we followed.
About a year later, Ryan and Lexie got married, and they followed us down. No, I'm just kidding. The boys definitely do have attachment issues.
Maybe I did too. I don't know.
Maybe you did too. Maybe it was just destiny.
The Lord knew.
The Lord knew. Love.
Yeah, so that's how we met. We're sister-in-laws.
Yes,
Two twins.
We have the same last name, which is kind of cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. What genre of book do we typically read?
So, I kind of read in almost every book genre. I don't really have, a lean one way or the other. I definitely have, phases where I'll go through, a big, fantasy phase or a big historical fiction phase or a big romance phase.
AKA you're a mood reader.
I am such a mood reader, you guys. If you don't learn that very quickly, I'll be very surprised. I will pick up literally anything that I feel the vibe for.
Yeah.
So
sometimes I feel I'm what are you reading? And you tell me, and then a day later I'm like, how's that book? I'm not reading
anymore. I read the first 100 pages and now I've picked up something else.
Okay.
Yeah, I DNF a lot of books on accident. It's kind of
so true.
I know. I'm not even doing it because I don't want to finish the book. It's literally just because I mood read so bad.
Do you you stop reading it, I'll pick it up and then you forget, so you just stop? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And then the thing that got me back into reading as an adult was classics, which is not the norm for anyone our age, but I've always been very interested in literature. I started reading big books when I was 8 years old, and then English was always my favorite subject. I always just had a lean towards writing and creative works of art and literature specifically in that. So I'll read anything that is good that I can get my hands on is the answer to that question. What about you?
Yeah, I pretty much just stick to fantasy, young adult fantasy, and young adult and new adult romance. I'll venture out of that sometimes, but that's definitely where I get the most enjoyment, for sure. I try to read classics. I could do 1 or 2 classics a year, and then
I've been trying to get her to read more classics because there's so many good ones.
My Audible.
That is an easier way to get into it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try one of my. I think we'll go into this a little bit later, but one of my 2024 goals is to read more classics.
I love that for you. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Moving along, what do we expect y'all to get out of this podcast, or what are we hoping to provide out of this podcast?
Yeah, so basically the hope for this podcast is that we can hop on here and we can share our chats that we're already having with you guys. We already talk a lot about books just in our free time when we hang out, and we have like super, super long hangout sessions where we're just talking for literally hours about books.
Love it.
They do. They get to just play video games.
Valid, actually.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically the hope with this podcast is for us to bring you honest reviews, recommendations, some things from the book world, different current events, things that we're reading, things that we think that you guys should read, and just kind of like mostly in the young adult area and in fantasy and romance, because that is Lexie's lean, but I am going to be pulling in as much of the other stuff as I can when it's good.
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to spread my wings and fly this upcoming year.
Love. Yeah, and then with that too, we are going to be kind of separated into segments in this podcast. So you'll notice our typical flow. We're just going to start out with saying, hey, and then we'll talk about our next segment, which is just a quick little scripture of the episode. This is not by any means a faith or Christian podcast. However, we both love Jesus, and so we are going to start our episodes by sharing just a little sprinkle of that with you guys before we get into the other stuff we want to talk to you about. So, Lex, why don't you take us into that segment?
Yeah, the scripture I felt led to share this week was Psalms 37:5, and that's commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he will act. And I just felt like that was fitting because this is a new endeavor for us, and this is all orchestrated by God.
Yeah, I love that. That's so sweet.
So fun.
Awesome. So next we're going to go into our current events section, which I'm really excited about because Goodreads came out with their choice awards this week.
Which is so exciting. I love when like Goodreads and I think Barnes and Noble does
I think they do.
like a book of the year.
Yeah,
but
they do.
It's just so fun to see the books that we've read like be nominated and the authors that we love and
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I'll kind of announce our top first place winners.
We picked some genres that we're like, this is the ones we are most passionate about.
Yeah, or like the ones that we read the most of this year, or that we just like
books
really
read, period.
Yeah, exactly.
Or heard of.
Yeah.
There's some books I had never even heard of, but that's good because now my list of books to read.
No, for sure.
Has
grown like tenfold.
Typical. Anyway.
Okay, cool. So for the top romance book,
we had Happy Place by Emily Henry, which I read and really, really loved.
I did not read it, but it's on my TBR. I really want to. I really like Emily Henry. I'll probably wait and read it in the summer.
It is a summer book. It's very much a summer book. It's really cute. It's not like her other books. Like, this one was a little sad. But, like, in a feel-good way. Like, it wasn't, like, devastating sad. It was just, like
sappy.
People grow up, people grow apart, and that's the point of the book.
Okay.
But it was good. I would really recommend it. I believe it was the only book I read. Yeah, it's the only book I read off of the romance category. So.
Oh. Wait, can I look at that?
Of course you can.
I did vote. I read any.
Did you vote?
Did you? In this? I did not participate. I should have. I didn't really know that it was going on though.
Oh, I voted for a Happy Place.
Cute. Yeah,
it wasn't the best romance I've read all year, but it was the only one on that list I read. So
yeah,
that was my vote. It was good. I would recommend it. I think I gave it 4 stars. It's clean.
Nice. Yeah.
Which is always good. I would say it's probably like a PG-14.
Okay.
But yeah, it was cute.
Okay.
I'm happy she won.
Love that for her. We love Emily Henry here.
I've read all of her books.
I've read a lot of her books, but not all of them.
She only has 4.
I've read half of them then.
Okay.
She has
a new one coming
out. Too. She has a new one coming out?
It's kind of a funny story. That's what it's called.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
I'm so excited.
Do you know what it's about?
I could be wrong. I believe it's about 2 people who recently broke up and they're like fake dating. So it's a fake dating romance.
Oh, I love that.
If that's what I'm almost positive that's what it is.
I'm a big fan of fake dating.
It has to be done well, but her writing, I think she'll do fine with it. I'm excited.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to top romantasy.
This was a big one.
Not a surprise for anyone.
No, I don't think any other book on the list honestly had a chance, which is sad because there were some good books on this list.
I didn't look at it.
Oh, okay. I don't
that's
think you've
okay.
read any of these.
Okay, well, fair. Oh wait, I did.
Oh, we didn't say who won. Fourth Wing
Yeah, the top romantasy was Fourth Wing.
by Rebecca Yarros. Shocker. It was good. It deserves to win, I think.
I think so too.
It really, even if the writing wasn't the most amazing, it really brought a lot of readers or new readers to the fantasy world. So it did its job.
That is so true, yeah. Yeah, I think I rated it like 4 stars on Goodreads. My actual rating was like 4.5. I couldn't give it a 5 stars because there were some things in it that bothered me. Just like parts of the writing that bothered me.
This is her literary part.
Here's the thing, guys. I rarely rate a book 5 stars. I don't think I even had a handful of 5-star books this year. I'm so picky with my 5 stars that I hand out, and you'll notice this with me too, is that like
4.5.
most of the time it'll be like a 4-star or a 4.5 because I can't in my right mind give it 5 stars if there were elements of the writing or of the composition of the story that were in any way distracting to me. And I get distracted easily by bad writing, or
it goes over my head.
That's okay. Honestly,
I'm I'm like, you get a 5 star, you get a 5 star, you get a 5
Oprah
star.
Winfrey.
Yes, you get a car, you get a car.
Yeah. I can't do that. And I think it was because I had a really good English teacher in high school that like made us dissect so much literature, and I loved doing it. And
I love doing book studies. Grammar and the quality of writing typically doesn't bother me. If it's like blatantly like you have to like think to read it because it doesn't make sense, that's a different story. But like for the most part, I'm like, well, I was entertained. The plot was good. I liked the characters. I felt happy. I'm 5 stars.
Yeah, Lexie is a 5 stars as a feeling kind of girly.
I rate my books by feelings 100%.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. If there's like, this is going off on a little bit of a tangent, but it'll bring us back to where we were. Iron Flame this year, I rated 5 stars because the entertainment value of it was so much that the issues that I had with the writing, I forgot almost immediately because I was so engrossed in the story. And also the world building in it was so good that...
Really good. And unique.
Not
that we're doing an Iron Flame review, but...
No, but... Still,
I can't control it.
There were so many things in Iron Flame that carried for me to where the issues were like in my head and then gone because I was straight on to like the next thing and like so entertained.
It was really fast paced, which probably helped with that.
Yeah, definitely.
For being a 700 something page book,
it didn't feel like it. At all. No. But anyways, so that's my, I do typically rate books based on actual quality of the book, but every once in a while, a book gets a rating. Yeah, where I'm like, I shouldn't rate it 5 stars, and I've even gone back and forth on Iron Flame, where I'm like, do I want to change my rating? But, no, that was how I felt about it when I finished it, and so I'm keeping it that, even though there are definitely other criticisms that I do have of it.
Sometimes I will say, I finish a book, and I'm like, 5 stars. A Curse for True Love.
Yeah.
I was like 5 stars, and then I sat on it and I was like, actually, no. that wasn't a 5 star. And I went back and changed it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I keep my ratings on how I felt immediately after. I don't let it ponder, which I should, but that's okay. We're learning.
It's okay. It's okay.
Great.
Okay, moving on to top fantasy. This one, the top fantasy was Hellbent, which neither one of us read. No. However, I did hear a lot of really good things about it, and I do know that Leigh Bardugo is the one that wrote the Six of Crows duology and Shadow and Bone, and the Hellbent I believe is the second book in a duology. I want to say
I don't know if it's a duology or a trilogy, but it's a second book.
Does it tell you on there if you tap on Hellbent? Will it tell you what the first book was called? Because I feel like I started it.
Yeah, hang on.
And I didn't finish it.
The first one is Ninth House.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I did start Ninth House. It was very hard to get into for me, and it was very, very, very dark, which is not something that always bothers me, but sometimes there are certain elements where I'm like, it's just makes me feel very icky, and so I don't really want to keep reading it, and that's kind of what happened with Ninth House for me, was I was like, this is making me depressed, so I'm not gonna keep reading it.
Valid. Okay, I haven't read it. I honestly haven't even heard of it before
Really?
today, I don't think. No.
Oh, okay. We're on
I haven't read anything
different-
from her. I haven't read Six Crows.
You didn't read The Six of Crows duology? You
Not
should.
yet.
You
I
would
want to.
really
it's
like
on my
it.
list. Well, there's a lot on the list.
You would really like it.
I think I would. I think it, like, just based on what I've seen, like, for reviews, it's probably up my alley.
Definitely. I did not. I liked it, but I did not rate it super highly because it was one of those situations where I was like being very critical of the writing, and not necessarily even like the writing of that one, but more the pacing and the character development was like kind of lacking.
I've heard that the character development isn't.
Which is so sad because the characters are so good. Like, they have such good like bones, like bare bones, but they're not well fleshed out, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
So, anyway,
Is that it for our Goodreads?
no, we actually have
another
one more,
Oh.
and this one's my favorite.
Oh, what is it?
The top YA fantasy sci-fi book
I
of
forget
the year was Divine Rivals.
Yeah.
Which I 100,000% agree with that.
It did, and it
should've
beat
won.
out some big books, and it should have.
Yeah.
It was a good story. It was written so poetically
So well.
and beautifully.
Yeah.
It really deserved to win. I'm really happy, and this is her first nomination.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Rebecca Ross.
I have not heard of Rebecca Ross until Divine Rivals.
She popped out from Divine Rivals. Her other books are. I just read one of her other books, and it was. Compared to Divine Rivals, it was mid. It's still good,
Yeah.
but mid. Divine Rivals really took her to the sea.
Yeah.
And it deserves to. She did such a good job on that book. I'm so happy that book won.
It was so good.
It beat out a lot. It beat out Powerless, which I haven't read yet, but I've heard really good things about it.
But yeah, I've also heard really good things.
It beat out What the River Knows, which again I haven't read yet. I own that one, but I haven't read it yet.
I thought you were reading that already.
It came in my Owl Crate subscription, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay.
Study of Drowning, which I read.
You read that?
I just finished it like a
Oh
couple
yeah,
weeks ago.
that's right. That's right.
It beat that out, which I agree with that. Those are some of the Silver in the Bone, which again I did read. It was good. Divine Rivals was better, but
That's
it beat out some big names, and I'm really really happy for her.
Oh, it was so good. If I could recommend to you any book from this year, it's Divine Rivals. Like, any book that I read this year or that was released this year, like it's Divine Rivals. That's the
Yeah.
one, like, if you haven't read it, you
Read
need
it
to go read it.
and like read it soon, because the second one comes out December 26th, and you just jump on the bandwagon before
For
it
real.
comes out.
Yeah.
Just like I
It's so good.
cannot wait for the second one.
It's so good. So good. Okay, our next current event. You heard more about this than I do.
Yeah.
I did.
Stephanie Garber, she writes the Carval trilogy and the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. And she announced on her Instagram that we should be getting an announcement soon about a new book she's writing. I'm so excited. She's not said anything about if it's in the same world as Carval or if it's something completely new, but either way, it will be on my pre-order as soon as the link is available. I don't care if it's a different genre. I don't care if it's different people. I don't care.
I'm so excited.
I'm really excited.
Yay. Okay, we don't have a lot to say about that.
No,
but
it's just a current
so
event. I wanted y'all to
exciting.
know Stephanie Garber's writing a new book.
I'm so excited.
I'm really excited.
Auto by author. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're spoiling my thing.
I'm so sorry.
Girl, no, it's fine.
It's mine too.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, okay,
Forget
wait. We're
we
not
just said
there.
that.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We are.
Okay.
We're getting excited.
Okay, our next is our author spotlight.
Yes, and I think, this was my choice this week. And I picked Ava Reed. She's new to the YA world. She has 3 books out right now. The 3 of them are The Wolf and the Woodsman, and that came out in 2021. And that is an adult fantasy romance, historical fiction, mythology, retelling. I don't know what the retelling is about. Honestly, I don't know what story it comes from. I haven't read it. It had pretty good reviews on Goodreads, over 3 stars. Her next one is Juniper and Thorn. Yeah, Thorn.
I've heard of that one.
I have heard of this one too. Again, I haven't read it. It says it's a adult fantasy horror gothic retelling, which is on my alley. I think I'd like it.
Yeah.
And then her newest book, which is the one I read and why I picked her as our author spotlight, is A Study in Drowning. That came out this year. It is a fantasy romance gothic mystery, and it definitely fits that vibe. I would also call it dark academia. Like, there is a school involved.
Oh,
yeah,
you piqued my interest.
Okay, the Dark Academia. Ooh, it's really good. It's written like a YA, like it's kind of like a Hunger Games kind of read. Like, it's really simple. The writing is nothing astonishing. It's not really that poetic. It's simple to the point.
Yeah.
But I like that sometimes. It's good to just not have to think about what you're reading. And I don't know, like I said, I haven't read her 2 other books, but I've heard she kind of stays on the same, like, simple writing.
Okay.
So take that as you will. I appreciate it. I don't know if it's something you would necessarily appreciate.
Valid.
Yeah.
I don't need writing to be flowery. I just need it to be without
Error.
abominable error.
And it's not. It's beautiful.
Yeah, okay.
It's just, it's like PG-13, so it's like a 13-year-old could read it, or even maybe a little bit young, 12, 13, could read it and, like, understand what's going on. It's not super complex, even though it could be.
I don't mind simple writing.
I don't mind it either. I feel like for a study, I gave it a 4 stars. It could have been 5 if it was a little bit more complex, but she would have had to go into adult genre for that. So I totally understand. Just the complexity of what was happening, I think, deserved complex writing.
Okay, that makes sense.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It just...
That was where it was kind of lacking.
Yeah, in my opinion, which, it is what it is.
Yeah. That's so fair.
It's...
Any other notes on...
the only other thing I have is... they're all standalone, so you don't have to read anything. You don't need to wait for anything. And they're all no spice, even the adult ones.
Nice.
Which is great. Always good.
Yeah.
And then I have her Instagram, just if anyone wants to follow her. It's Ava Reads. It's AVASREID, which I think is so funny, like a play on her last name.
Ava's Read. That's so cute.
Yep. So cute. So yeah, that's our author spotlight of the episode. I haven't heard much talked about her. And
I haven't either.
I just, even though it was, like I said, it was simple, it was really good and deserves some love.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do we have next?
Next, we are just gonna chat about our current reads.
Yes.
So I'm gonna go first because I'm gonna go more into depth about this actually in our next episode. I'm gonna talk about it more. So I'm not gonna talk too much about it. But my current read, well, okay.
I don't know what you're reading right now.
I know. I don't even know what I'm reading right now.
My current read
which one is really the question here. So, okay, yeah, do you want me to tell you all of my current reads or just the one?
Whatever you feel led to share.
That was so Christianese. Okay, anyway.
Christianese.
Okay, my book that I'm reading that I'm in the middle of that, like, I will finish before I really pick up anything else. That's what we'll call my current read. It's called Through the Snow Globe. It is a really cute Christmas, like, rom-com. Well, actually, I wouldn't even call it a rom-com. I would call it, like, chick lit. And it's kind of Hallmark feeling. It is clean. It is very wholesome, very cute, but it's also really funny. It's the main character, basically, something tragic happens to her significant other, and he ends up in a coma, and she has the opportunity to relive the day that the accident happened.
Oh.
But she doesn't really know why she's reliving it. Like, someone else gives her this as a gift of, like, this opportunity to relive this day.
Interesting.
So it ends up kind of being a little bit of a Groundhog Day trope, like a time loop kind of situation. However, there's enough uniqueness in each time she's reliving it
Okay,
to
that's
where
nice.
it doesn't feel super repetitive. Like, even the things that are happening to her on those days are changing every
Okay.
time. So it is, if you don't typically like time loops, you may not like it. However, there are enough nuanced things that happen to where, at least for me, it doesn't feel repetitive. And again, it's clean. I would call it like PG-13 or so. There's not really much language or anything in it. It's just a little bit too complex for like a early middle school kid. But yeah, like anyone really could read it. And it's really cute. So
Love it.
yeah, I'm liking it.
Good. I love that for you.
Thanks. Your turn.
I'm reading Magnolia Parks. And I am just so giddy and in love with the story, if you can't tell. I don't even really know what the plot of the story is, to be honest. Like, just these two people, Magnolia and BJ, just want to be together. They're like magnets towards each other, but they just keep hurting each other. Mm-hmm. If you've watched Gossip Girl, it's literally Blair and Chuck.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's just one of those stories you don't need to think about while you're reading. You can just laugh. It's not high stakes. It's... No. Honestly, for what the book's about, there's no spice in it.
No, there
is language, though.
It's not smutty, but it is, it's language and there's adult. A lot of tension. So, like, I definitely wouldn't recommend it for anyone under age, like, 16. But 16 and up, I think, would be okay.
For sure, yeah. Katie just gave it.
Yeah.
You just gave the book to me, a couple days ago?
Yeah, I just read it. And then was like, Lexie, you're gonna be obsessed with this book. You need to read it.
At first, the first 150 pages, I'm like, girl, what did you give me? But now...
That's how I was feeling also the first 150 pages. I was like, I don't know if I trust anyone who recommended this to me. And
it's so good. Like,
then I kept going.
Quality of writing...
It's not great.
Mid. But, like, her ability to make you just, like, want them to be together, even though it's so toxic... is insane.
Yeah, I think I rated it like 3.5 stars because
the
writing bothered me, and there were editing issues.
Yes,
like it was bad. Mm-hmm. So that knocked it way down on my.
There's been some times where I had to like read the same like sentences or page because I'm like, what is even happening right now? Or like, I think you brought this up. Like, there's like text bubbles on the pages, and they'll like be the received text is like on the wrong side. So you have to like figure out in your head who actually wrote what. Yeah. Which I just feel like is something so simple. Yeah. To fix.
That was annoying to me, but
I'm still enjoying every second of it. I'm honestly like going to read it after. Mm-hmm. We did finish this podcast. So, sorry.
No, you're good.
I was sorry. I thought
Everyone say hi to Lexie's mom. No. I'm just kidding.
Yes, that's my current read, and then I just finished One Dark Window.
Nice.
Yesterday.
Love. Yeah. Okay, do you want to lead us into our last section?
What is that, question of the episode? Yes, our question of the episode for today, and we're going to pick a different question or activity every episode, but this week it is, who are 2 of your autobi authors, which we spoiled.
We spoiled one of them. Okay, so we both know one of our autobi authors is the same.
We both put Stephanie Garber as one of them.
Do you want to give your why and then I'll give my why?
Yeah. She's one of my autobi authors because I just find her writing so whimsical and magical and easy to be enthralled in. It's typically pretty low stakes, like a cozy-ish fantasy. And I just feel like she does such a good job of making me feel a part of the story. Mm-hmm. And because of her writing, I will always, always buy her books.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I also really appreciate the way she paces her stories. So I really like her pacing in her fantasy. I like that her fantasy feels cozy while still being kind of high stakes, like really high stakes, actually. Yes, but it feels cozy to me. It gives me like a warm hug kind of vibe where I just love being in her world. I think she just does a really good job of creating a world even without giving it a whole lot of detail. Like sometimes there's things that you just don't understand about the world, but it feels so magical and like comforting to be in it.
Yeah, I feel like that goes along with like feeling part of the story because you know what the main character you're reading about knows.
Yeah.
So it just makes you feel in it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, do your next one.
My next one was Emily Henry. We did talk about her earlier as well. Like I said earlier, I love romance, but I do not like reading smut. So I know Emily Henry is safe. She writes about people close to my age. I don't want to read a romance about a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I want to read a romance about like someone in their 20s, but that typically comes with spice.
Yeah.
And I just love that Emily Henry does the rom-com, does it well, and it's pretty low stakes. I mean, there's like sexual tension, but for the most part, I'm like, okay, I can read this and not feel uncomfy.
Yeah.
And for that, she's my romance auto-buy.
I love that. She also, something I love about her is that like her books aren't always just about the romance. Like a lot of them are very much like
Coming of
literary
age
fiction. Like it talks a lot like women's literature. Like it feels like dives into the ins and outs of like being a woman and like different and I wouldn't even say coming of age, but like more coming like into your own and like
that's
like
better word for
what
it.
it means to be a woman. I feel like is something that she just does such a good job of portraying in her books.
Without feeling like super like overly like feminism in a bad way.
Right to where it's like being shoved down your throat.
No, she does a good job with that. I will read every book she writes.
I love that. Okay.
I don't know your second one. I
don't look at it. Mine is so embarrassing. But also, I think it's so funny. Okay, I'm actually going to give you, I'm going to see if you can guess it. I'm going to give you my reason why. And then I'm going to see if you can guess it. And you can ask me questions too, okay? So, this author, I had a massive phase in high school where I was reading every single one of their books. I own, to this day, every single one of their books. They don't really release books quite as frequently anymore, but it's an author that is not only extremely talented, but also obviously very nostalgic. They write mostly literary fiction and coming of age is kind of the genre, with romance for sure in it. One of their romance books went crazy when we were in high school, or maybe a little earlier than that. And so for that reason,
I wanted to say Suzanne Collins until you brought up romance and literary fiction. Did we even read the same books in middle school?
I don't know, but we've definitely had this conversation where I've told you before that this was like my
John Green.
Yeah.
John Green. Fault in Our Stars popped off. Wait, that's such a move though.
I know.
I haven't read all his books, so he could not have been on my list.
I have
read Turtles All the Way Down.
I think the only one that I haven't read is the Christmas one.
Yeah, I haven't read Let It Snow or Turtles All the Way Down. He writes really well, though.
He does.
I read Fault in Our Stars this year.
So good.
And I still bawled.
Yeah.
It still hits. It really does.
It's so good, you guys.
That's such a good answer. I'm jealous. I didn't think of that.
It was the first one that came to mind because I'm like, dang, what author do I literally have like all of their books and like always will buy if I see that they've written another book. And that's what happened with Turtles All the Way Down. Like, I hadn't read a John Green book in years when he wrote Turtles, like when Turtles was released. And I was like, oh, John Green? Like, you bet, sis, I am buying that book.
Is he releasing anything new?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything.
He's a pretty funny social media presence. Yeah. He's really funny.
He's so funny. Anyways, if you guys are looking for some fun literary fiction or like young adult, coming of age, even like romancy kind of books, pick up a John Green book.
But if it's The Fault in Our Stars and you haven't read it, like,
be prepared.
Be prepared.
You're gonna sob.
Have some tissues.
Okay, I will say that though about like most of his books.
That's the only one that made me. Oh, Looking for Alaska made me sob.
Looking for Alaska also made me sob.
I should reread all this.
Paper Towns is also really sad. And Abundance of Catherines is very quirky, but I also remember being sad in that one too. I did.
I read it at not a great time in my life, so I was maybe not fully in it. But
That's fair.
Yeah.
I loved everything I read of his.
We should reread them like as a book club.
We should. That would be
John
so
Green book
funny.
club. I'd be down.
Love.
I love that was your answer. I'm
Thank you.
proud of myself for guessing that.
Yeah, good job, honestly.
I was really like Suzanne Collins. I'm so confident, and then you're like romance. I'm like, because you don't even like how Suzanne Collins' romance played out, so I know that's not your answer.
Okay, we're not getting into that right now. It's time to end the episode, you guys. No, seriously though, we are out of time, actually, and I'm not in the mood to talk about Gil versus PETA. So
that's our topic for a different day.
We'll save that for another day. Maybe stay tuned. But thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Please tune back in next week. We're going to be doing a Christmas special. Love.
We are in the Christmas spirit.
We're so excited. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you around. We post, just so that you know, we're going to be posting every Tuesday on YouTube and Spotify. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube and give
share
us,
with your friends.
Yes, please. And give us a rating on Spotify if you liked it, but not if you didn't.
If you didn't like
I don't really
just pass. Just keep walking.
That just might really hurt my feelings if we too many 1-star ratings. So I mean, if you didn't like it, maybe just keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
Anyways, love you. Bye.
Bye y'all.